Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome once again to Buroi. And today I'm thrilled that we have Dimpy Agrawal with us. She is a visionary in the world of entertainment, and she's a name synonymous with creativity, passion, and excellence in storytelling. She's the founder of Gubbara Entertainment. She founded it back in 2023, a venture that embodies a relentless pursuit of creating compelling and original content. Before that, she was an integral part of Netflix India, contributing to acclaimed projects like Khufia, Guns and Gulabs, Monica My Darling, Mismatched, and many others. She's here with us to enrich her with her experience with our very own Smriti Kiran. Let us unfold the 10 rules of producing for first-time producers with Dimpy Agrawal. Over to you.
First of all, Dimpy, thank you so much for Dimpy's first film as an independent producer, which is her company Gubbara Entertainment, is actually playing at the festival. It's called Chashma. It's a short film, and it is acclaimed film editor Nitin Baid's first film as director, and it stars Konkana Sen Sharma, and it's actually I watched the film. Thank you so much, Dimpy, and I absolutely love it, and I'm so glad that it's playing at Guwahati. So when Dimpy and I met, and I really kind of wanted to do a session with her, one of the things that I really love about the work that Dimpy's done in the last decade is that Dimpy visually defies the image of a film producer that usually is conjured up in your mind the moment you say this person is a producer, and then Dimpy comes out and you're like, okay, this looks very different than what I imagined. And also, it's no surprise that there is a certain kind of person over the last 15 years that has started to enter the film industry. The sessions that we've had today with Rajiv Masand, with Aishwarya Lakshmi, and now Dimpy, all three of them come from stellar education. I know Rajiv started off as a journalist and stayed that, but Aishwarya is a doctor by education. She did a little bit of modeling, then she went into films. But apart from acting, she also became a producer because there is a certain, I know that there came a point where we started to look at education or being highly educated or having formal education as an impediment. I have no idea why that would be an impediment for anybody, because I think education just kind of arms you. You're learning on the job every day, but not treating education as an empowering tool, to me is very surprising, because I feel that it prepares you for many other things. Maybe it doesn't prepare you for what you're studying for, but it brings in a certain kind of rigor, a certain kind of information, a certain kind of ethic, and a certain kind of waiting for things to happen in its due course of time that very little else does. Dimpy comes from a very educated background as well in finance. She was working in banking, and then took a punt on doing a job with Phantom Entertainment, and it turned into a full-fledged career. And this year she finishes 10 years in the industry. So congratulations, Dimpy. Dimpy, I know that whenever somebody picks up a book or a tutorial or anything to kind of think about producing, first of all, there's so many myths around producing. You usually think about somebody with like no creative inputs, somebody who's the money bags, somebody who's basically coming in the way of the creative vision. कि ये लोग बाधा बनेंगे, कि ये लोग आएंगे और कहेंगे कि budget बहुत कम है, बंद कर दो लाइटें. That kind of, you actually think of a producer as somebody who's creating more difficulty than enabling. So I first of all want to ask you that define for us, because there are students here, there are also professionals here, what does a producer, modern producer, do in the process of filmmaking?
So I think one question that I get asked every day by someone from my family or outside is, तुम करते क्या हो actually? You know, do you put money? तुम्हारा काम क्या है? तुमको director बनना है? तुमको writer बनना है? It's like they are first and foremost questions, because I think everyone thinks that, you know, if you're producing, maybe you internally actually want to direct, but you're producing. A producer is, if I can define it in layman's language, is the CEO of a company, putting together everything that a project kind of runs, and everything is done by a producer. Yes, the old time producers were the money bags who would come with like their petty of money, but I don't think that's the case anymore. Producer is the one who identifies the script, identifies a writer, takes it to a director, puts the crew together, is basically the therapist on the project also, because everyone will have problems at every single time and you have to kind of sit down and talk to them, to the person who's approving a budget, to the person who's getting the financiers to put in the money on the project, and doing your daily routine every single day. So I think Smriti, a producer, is a person who comes in first and leaves last.
Yes. That is wonderful. We should put that on a t-shirt and wear it. But that's true. You know, even for film festivals, what would happen is a director and producer, so Dimpy is here and her film is here. Now what's going to happen is that, just to give you like a perspective, Nitin would walk in, and Nitin is the person who's going to do the Q&As, and Nitin is the person who's going to look at, you know, everything that is happening. People will be talking to Nitin. What Dimpy would be doing is not only talking about the film, but Dimpy would be also looking at potential. Like she'll say, okay, BVFF, if we've come, then what kind of visibility can we get in the Northeast? What kind of theatres are there? What kind of talent is here? So she's the person you want to actually get discovered by, because she's the person who is also going to greenlight future projects and kind of make them happen. So that is what a producer does, because they're constantly looking out for opportunity to plug in their film talent, figure things out. That is the person who's like the not only the creative but also the pipeline heartbeat of a project.
Absolutely, I will be on the watch out of if there is a film festival program over here, if there is a journalist that I should talk to, if there is a potential writer who may be a good talent that, you know, I think producing is all about discovering, and there is not enough, and like there are no books where you can discover people, or there is no straightforward process in discovering people, so it is always on the lookout for more and like talking to more people. And the director obviously is creative in charge of the project, but the producer is like overall taking care of how the project will be more and more seen.
Exactly. Maybe when you began, I know that, you know, obviously everyone doesn't start off as a producer. Some people maybe do, but like everybody, like Dimpy, you work the grid, you work the ranks. When you did decide, you had a nice lucrative job, you come from a family where this is not really something that people do, they don't even think about it. And when you decided to take it up, why did you decide to take it up? Because somebody just randomly asked her and told her about the fact that there is an opening in Phantom.
So the family I came from, filmmaking is never a profession that you could be in, and I think Smriti, you spoke about education. For like me, education was topmost priority and requirement. Like my father was like, "Padhai vadai khatam kar lo, uske baad mein dekhenge what happens." But at the least, you have to be a master's qualified. Otherwise, there is nothing no one is talking about. So when the opportunity came to be in films, I think I was just curious, and I think curiosity bit me into taking a punt in this profession, and there was nothing else but curiosity as to how a film is made and why a film is made and who's involved behind making a film. And I think till date the curiosity in me has kind of taken me to where I am right now.
So when you now going to make a massive jump and come to your life as a producer, because you started off at Phantom in a different capacity, then moved to Dharma, top notch, both big production houses, and then from Dharma you went to Netflix, which is another beast altogether, and worked there for a bunch of years on really significant solid projects. And then in 2020 you decided to branch out on your own and 2023 you started Gubara Entertainment. when you branched out on your own, even with experience, what are the things that you went out in the market with? What were your, apart from setting up the company and calling it Gubara Entertainment, and finding a name for it, and that is also a whole process as to how you register and this, that, and the other. Walk us through setting up a production house, setting up a production company, and mounting your first project.
So I think, Smriti, you and I have spoken about it. When I started Gubara, there was obviously a thought behind why I wanted to start it. Was I confident enough that time? No, I wasn't. Did I think I was there yet? No, I didn't think so. I always thought that maybe a little more experience will help or add or don't know what. But I think there was enough conviction in me that I wanted to tell the stories that I really believed in. I think besides the registration and all of that, the first and foremost thing that I kind of got myself is a legal team, because their paperwork is just so important in our industry, so important. You don't want to get into a project and not know who the rights belong to, what is the payment schedule, and later on have people argue, because also in this industry relationships are very important but are also very fragile. So you don't want lack of paperwork and lack of clarity to come in the way. So the first thing I did is got myself a legal team. Second thing, what I was on a watch out for was a good script, because I think it took me 2 months to even say I have started my own company, because like Smriti mentioned, I had worked with really big banners, with really big producers. To say Dimpy from Netflix or Dimpy from Dharma was always easier, but to say that, oh, I have founded my own company now, it was difficult. So I think the second thing was to get a script, and I got a little lucky because with Nitin's film, it was something since 2019 we had discussed, we wanted to do it together. He wanted to transition to directing, I wanted to transition to producing. We both knew each other's aspirations. So I think that became, that was literally a call saying, okay, I knew this script exists, I had kind of my eyes on it, and I knew I wanted to make it, so I had enough conviction. That was my second. Third was to get a team which makes me look good, which is smarter than me, which I could rely on personally and professionally, which I could pick up the phone on and sound dumb and not worry about sounding dumb. I think because I wouldn't know everything. No one person in film can ever know everything, but it is a curiosity and be willingness to ask and tell people that, look, I don't know what this means, but you know, so you do your job. So I think these three were like my legal, script, and the team that I needed to get functional going.
And what is the, when you do decide to open a company and you say, okay, fine, I'm going to start to produce a material, there is obviously a very serious, apart from legal representation, a very, potent and solid financial framework that is needed, which almost determines the quality of the team that you're going to get and the kind of projects that you can greenlight. So if you could just shine a light on that.
So sorry, I forgot the fourth, but the most important thing is funding and financing. So I think getting yourself a good CA who has your back at all times, because again, enough, and I can't emphasize enough on the importance of paperwork being correct. So getting yourself a strong CA, but in terms of funding, you need to know what kind of projects you can take and what is the bandwidth that you can go to. So I, at that point in time, used my banking skills a little bit, and the investment banking skills kind of came handy at that point in time as to, okay, who can I go and tap on, and where can I get the funds from, be it VCs, be it private equity, be it studios, be it, again, because I had worked in a studio before, I knew what it entailed. So we kind of, with Chashma, we kind of went to Amazon Mini first, then we took back. But yes, knowing how much you can put at risk with a project is very, very, very important, and tapping the different kinds. So what I did is I went to private equity funders, I went to VCs, and I went to studios. So I went to all three and kind of realized and determined how much could I take an exposure on.
So, you would have, I mean, I don't know how much it is being said now, but a lot of people used to think that it's a flex to turn around and say that, I can't talk finances. Like, there would be a lot of people, because talking finance almost feels like you've somewhere given up your creative muscle or integrity. But since we are in the company of a producer, I think knowing how to negotiate and knowing what value you need to put to the services that you will provide or the project that you will do is actually like a cardinal skill that you need to have, because you cannot afford to not be financially sound or legally sound and do anything. So my takeaway right now from the session would be financial soundness, legal soundness, then identifying a project that you really want to kind of put your muscle behind,
and loving that project. I mean, you have to love your project. You have to have so much conviction in the story to want to make it, because your passion is going to drive it. At every point in time, there will be obstacles and challenges, but at that point in time, for me especially, my love for the project and the story, like the desire to tell the story, was so strong that at every hurdle, like I would get up, be like, okay, this is not working out. 2 hours, let's take some time off. Let's go at it again. Let's go at it again. Let's go at it again. But because the conviction was so strong, and the faith in Nitin to be able to deliver, and that's why I said hiring a team which you really trust in, trusting your director and having conviction in your story is so important. Without that, I don't think anything is possible.
There's so many young professionals here. We always hear people, and you said this right at the start, at the top of the session. We hear so many people turn around and say or assume that if somebody is a producer, that person at some stage wants to turn director. Or nobody kind of, is studying and saying, like, people want to be writers and people want to be directors and people want to be, but nobody is like, I want to grow up and become a producer. So I want to also understand that where does that transference of ambition in terms of whether you want to do this, what are the advantages of being a producer over any other job that you do in the pipeline of putting material out there?
Smriti, I think being a producer, you are kind of involved from, as I said, you are the first one in and the last one out. So you're kind of seeing the project. You are making the most important decisions for the project, which is also difficult at times, because you kind of decide the fate of the project. Producing just requires a different brain part of your to work, because it has finance, it has legal, it has logistics, it has coordination, and direction is a very creative mindset, which is just different. To me, it gives me a lot of joy to put a project together and to kind of be able to say that, you know what, I put the project together to myself. It gives me a lot of joy. The aspiration sometimes is because the director, a filmmaker in India sometimes is also till today known as the director and not the producer. So I think a lot of producers have this aspiration, a lot of people in the production team also have this aspiration to be a part of the creative team, because I don't think the production team or the producers get their dues. And that's why the aspiration, and it's a thankless job. No one thanks you for the dirty job that you do. No one even knows if a producer is doing their job correct. Most people will not even know that the job is done. So it's a thankless job. So I think the aspiration arrives, and I've seen a lot of my friends who are in production and who do their job so well, but a part of them wants to be a writer and they'll probably be really bad at it, or a director, is because they think that they are not valued.
No, so I mean, of course, we are trying to break those gender, norms in any case, but it's usually known that the director of a film is the father of the film, and the producer of the film is the mother of the film, because you do an end-to-end sort of a job. But I remember that a lot of the rules that we made in Mami when I used to do the festival, I remember learning a lot about giving producers their due, which is not that we weren't thanking them, But I remember that whenever a film was selected for the festival, the person who used to fly down is the director, right? But we were not extending the same to the producers, whereas the producers stay with the project way more than a director does, and it's not a one or the other thing, it's about just framing credit for somebody who's equally responsible for putting out that project. They're just not the director, they're just not doing the one specific job on it, but the entirety of the material. The other thing is that because you de-glamorize or you don't give credit to a certain kind of jobs that are done on a film, most people want to become directors not because of the fact that direction is a better job than producing or writing, but it's just that it pays better, it gives you more fame. So I remember in another panel, this was...
it's more glamorous.
It's more glamorous. Because your name is going to be taken, but the producer's name is not going to be taken. Dimpy, that brings me to another point that because we asked you to define this particular job, I also want to know what are the, I know the session's called 10, this thing, but there are like 20 or 30 or 40 rules of being a good producer. But if you were to distill it into 5 things that you kind of learned as an independent producer, because I know it's different when a company is backing you, like Netflix or Phantom. But when you come out into the open market, and this I want to say for everybody, even Rajiv said that, and even Ishwarya said that a lot of people are going to kiss your ass when you have a certain company behind you. They're going to tell you that you should aim for world domination and you can do this, and we'll be behind you and we'll do this, and your dimag goes becomes a gubara only. You feel, oh my god, these people are going to be like backing us and they'll do this and they'll do that. The moment you lose that position, those people disappear. So frankly speaking, unless until you're keeping yourself in the forefront of it, nothing's going to happen for you. So when you did come off these big companies and these big jobs and titles that you had, what are the 5 cardinal things, and like speak honestly, that you learned in this year-long journey to get your first film out there?
5 is too less, but I'll
Go
start.
for 10, 15, 20. You've got afternoon.
I think it's the power of the chair that like kind of drives you a little crazy where you forget. But the foremost thing is that being kind doesn't require a lot, but being kind in my entire journey has paid off in this 1 year so much that I can't even quantify that ever. I think my spot dadas, to my costume dadas, to my light dadas, to my biggest HODs or my actors or to post studios, whoever I've worked with in the past 10 years, I think I was just kind to them. And when I started Gubara and I picked up the phone saying we are doing Chashma, monies are really, really small because it is a short film. They literally had one thing to say, whatever you need, let us know that. So I think that I got only because I was kind to them throughout my journey. So when I needed them, they were all there. And just even now, when I was on set, just being kind to your entire crew, your team, your spot dadas, taking some time to know their names, not calling them costume dada and light dada and spot yahan pe aa jao. Call them by their name, respect them, that will go such a long way. So I think that is one thing that I cannot, there is no quantification to what you get in return by being that.
So kindness, building a network, and also not only building a network, you don't do nice things because of that, but what you said is great, that there's so many people who are dehumanized in the process of filmmaking that you're not even, my name is very important to me, right? Like when people call me Splitty or say this or Dimpy or Beyond or any other name that you take, the thing is, just imagine somebody whose name is not being taken and that person is doing their job day in and day out. So I love what Dimpy is saying, because a lot of people forget that you just have to, goodwill goes a long way. And actually I learned that earlier when I was doing a shoot. I remember when I used to be with NDTV, and you're young and you want to perform very desperately, and we were on a very tough Rajasthan, we were on a shoot and it was in Rajasthan, it was hot, it was terrible, And I was just like, I wanted to shoot continuously. Like I didn't want to stop because it was a half an hour special and this, that and the other. And my camera person was very sweet and he was from Nagaland. And he told me, he said, you know, we have to give the assistant a lunch break because your name is going to go on this special. And his is not going to go on the special. So we really need to feed him right now and we need to give him a little bit of rest so that his life, because his name is not going to appear anywhere. It's going to be my name and your name. So let's just do that. And that was my first lesson in knowing that everybody who's working with you have to make them comfortable because their situation is not the same as you. They're not being driven by the same thing. So kindness.
I remember being as an assistant on my first film, Ghoul of Bhavesh Joshi said, and I remember the day like when Vikram walked in and said, "Hi Dimpy, how are you feeling?" And you know, that made me feel good, that made me feel seen. So I think if I can give the same thing out to other people because they are working very, very hard for the film to happen. So it's just like acknowledgement. Second, because we spoke about food, knowing what to feed your crew and when to feed your crew is so important. When you know someone like samosa and you know their temper is going a little high, you better have that samosa ready to give them, you know. Just like knowing when to feed, who to feed, before any recce's, before any shoot, knowing which spot to go to. Nothing else matters more than a well-fed crew. If they are not well-fed, they are going to be cranky. If they are cranky, they are not going to do their job correctly. If they are not doing their job correctly, you will be crying at the end of it. So
lots of fuck-ups are going to happen. The tarapa is going to be...
Yeah, and everyone is cranky on a film
you
set.
Need an angry crew. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think second cardinal rule was knowing who to feed when and what to feed to whom. Third, I already emphasized on loving the script and like, again, I just cannot. You have to have conviction. If you do not have conviction, the second person who comes and tells you, because filmmaking is so subjective, what I make, you may hate, a third person may like, fourth person will be like, oh, it's whatever, and everyone will have some feedback to give you. But if your conviction is not enough, then everyone's opinions will start mattering to you. And every time you face a hurdle, you'll be like, why am I even making this? You know, like, forget it, let's move on. And if there is a point that comes that, oh, let's move on, actually move on. Don't hold on to it because that journey is not going to be good. Fourth thing would be, to me, networking. Super important. Sending those cold messages. Till 1 year ago, I could not send a cold message out. I would get so nervous. Till before Gubara, sending a cold message or a cold email would be the end of me. I think now I'm just like, yeah, email? Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
Now we'll be sending Insta DMs.
I send Insta DMs also, just by the way.
Call karega.
So, cold messaging, cold emailing, cold DMs, following up with people who may not reply back. But again, with little bit of mindfulness, don't follow up every day and be a pain to them. Just know they also lead a very, very hectic life. But also one more thing that I learned is when you get someone's time who you've been wanting to, make their time valuable. They may give you half an hour, 1 hour, once, twice because they like you, they worked with you, they care for you. If you waste their time 2 times, third time they'll be like, yeah, I'm not like, just never be ungrateful for someone's time if you've taken it. Even if you're sending material to them, make sure that you are confident about the material you're sending to them. So I think that would be one of my cardinal rules.
I love what you said, Dimpy, because the thing is people don't know how to utilize someone's time that they have access to. So, Meera Nair actually said something really amazing. She was a big fan of Satyajit Ray, everybody is. And she also had low-key access to him. Like in the sense that she really wanted, she could have met him, right? And I remember in an interview, I asked her, I said, then why didn't you meet him? So she said, I admire him, and what would have happened is, if I met him, I would have said, I love your work. You're amazing. You're the best filmmaker that I know. But it would have, it's a normal meeting. So I wanted to actually meet him at a time where I had done something so that the conversation can be taken forward. And then when she actually did have something to show him, she went to his place, took time, and then over the next 9 years that he was alive, she met him every summer. And they would sit and have chai and do a little bit of industry cup, and you know, chat about this thing, and just imagine what she might have learned from him, you know, just having those conversations. So utilize people, you know, just because you have access, put it on hold. You know, don't have to write to that person and ask stupid questions just to make your presence felt. Just make sure that, okay, I have this person's ear, I have this person's attention, I will utilize it for something really, really specific.
And they'll value it that much more. I think Satyajit Ray sir to like give her the time every summer was because she was grateful for it, and also she gave him something in return. So I think that is to know when to reach out and what to reach out with, and doing your research a little bit about what they are doing, who they are. Little just, I think one thing I do is the night before my day, I kind of take a look on who I'm meeting, what I'm meeting them for, and at least have my mental agenda clear a little bit. And then have honest and authentic conversations with them, not like try and make up and be another person. Just be authentic, be yourself, and they'll appreciate you for who you are. And again, one more thing is not to be scared to say that I've never done this or I don't know how to do this, but I'll figure a way how to do it. I think that also to me has helped me a lot, just like being honest.
Dimpy, this is like a tall order, but before I open out the house for questions, I also want to know what are the things never to do. Never ever to do.
Never ever ignore your call sheet. You may think as a producer, you have people doing that. Never ever ignore your call sheet. One thing wrong on your call sheet and you will be messed up. And how? Never reach late for a meeting, especially if someone has been kind enough to give you their time. And if you are running late, have a very valid reason, and traffic cannot be that. Meaning we all know that there is traffic, so leave 15 minutes early if you must.
Half an hour.
Yeah, I think being on time, and even if you have to go and wait for 5 minutes, I think I learned that from my mentor, who is now 70, I think, but she was a 65, 60-year-old lady, and she would always be on meetings 10 minutes early. And I'm like, why? But like, they are making you wait, and she'd be like, that's fine, it's on them. But like, I think that is super important.
Is that Deepa Motwane?
Yes.
So that's Vikramaditya Motwane's mother, Deepa Motwane, who ran Phantom for a very long time and does a lot of producing workshops in Bombay. But yeah, she's an incredible woman.
I think all the knowledge I have today or I'm imparting right now is stolen knowledge from her. Because I mean, I got incredibly lucky to have her as my mentor, and I'm forever grateful to her. But like, she was such a powerful woman. Yeah, I don't know what else not to do.
Also, you must
I think
pitches and this, that, and the other, like anything in that process, because I feel there are lots of people in the crowd today who might be people who would be happy to look at a call sheet, because इसका मतलब है कि वो फिल्म बना रहे हैं, लेकिन call sheet तक पहुंचने में थोड़ा सा time लगेगा. So even if anybody here wants to be a producer, what are the things that they should do to equip themselves?
Be curious, continuously like read up, see what is happening in the industry. Keep looking out for scripts. I think without that, without a story, there is nothing that you can build up. Be mindful of your budgets. I think I didn't touch upon that at all. Always budget like you are using your own money, even if it's a financier's money, and always keep room for like that 20% ऊपर नीचे, because वो जाएगा ऊपर. मतलब आप कुछ भी कर लो, वो थोड़ा तो जाएगा ही. I didn't talk about insurance at all. Please, you never know when it's going to start raining. We were shooting in May this year. Only 2 days in Bombay that we were shooting in, there was a storm in Bombay and it was pouring. and I did not have insurance despite knowing all of this, because it was a music video, we were doing it for a friend, budgets were really really low like they always are. We are like, yaar, summer hai, there's no possibility of rain, it's a one day quick in and out, and there was a storm, so like insurance. But as a young producer, as someone who's like starting out, I think couple of things is networking, power of reaching out. Even if it's a young writer, big writer, reach out to them. You never know what may work out.
Another thing that I just want to add is that basically the thing is you're not curing cancer, right? You really aren't. This is something you want to do. You want to tell stories, you're excited, sweet. So nobody owes you, no matter what kind of a brain you are and कितने cool हो तुम, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता किसी को, तुम्हें फर्क पड़ता है तो तुम मेहनत करो. कोई नहीं बनाएगा तुम्हारी फिल्म, किसी को नहीं पड़ी है, किसको इंटाइटल्ड मत हो कि मैं इतना बड़ा कलाकार हूँ या मैं ये कर सकती हूँ तो मुझे अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलनी चाहिए. क्यों मिलनी चाहिए? नहीं मिलनी चाहिए. तुम मेहनत करो. So go 9,000 times more prepared into a room than any other person, and don't think just because you think you're extremely talented or your story is amazing that it needs to be told. So you need to work really really hard. I mean,
absolutely. I think you need to keep your head down every single day and keep doing what you do the best, because 1 year later when things don't work out, at least you know that you gave your best every single day for that 1 year, and there will not be any regrets. So I think there is no alternative to hard work and consistency. Doing that hard work daily is also very important. It's not like एक दिन कर लिया and then 2 दिन आप यार नहीं हो रहा है तो अब क्या ही कर सकते हैं. I don't think that attitude works. As a producer, you have to be at it daily. You have to wake up and you have to be like, okay, today is a new day. Today I do it all over again and today I give my 100%. I think that mentality has to be there for a producer. Otherwise, it's very difficult.
And also, if you're asking somebody for something, वैसे ही आप वक्त मांग रहे हो, तो अगर आप उनसे मेहनत कराओगे, तो वो बिल्कुल नहीं करेंगे. Even PDF है ना, वो भी कम क्वालिटी का भेजो ताकि वो खोल सके अपने फोन पे. I just realize these things because हम ही जा रहे हैं लोगों के पास कि उनसे 5 पैसे का काम भी मत कराओ, right? Because they're anyways doing you a favor. So you've got to do the heavy lifting and make sure that what you need that person for, and also that other person gets very impressed. Like somebody comes to me fully prepared, fully on the ball, fully ready to do this. I also feel that if I help this person, you know what's going to happen is at least this person is not going to become a burden on me.
Absolutely. Spoon feed them if you have to, and don't, like she said, if you're taking someone's time, don't make them feel like you're going to be a burden to them. Give them something back. I think power of information is is undermined, and I think a lot of people keep the information to themselves because they think they'll give the power away. But give them information. Tell them 1-2 things that you know which they may not be knowing, and that's how they'll also start valuing you and your time, because in this world you can't just be a taker. You give some, you take some, and I think that is also very important to know that you also have to give. You also have to kind of be of service and be of help to the opposite person.
So now, please ask us questions. Please, it's a rare opportunity, so go for it.
Good evening to our 2 lovely ladies sitting on the stage. I'm Aryan Sinha, and my question to Dimpy ma'am is, how much input do you think a producer should have in the creative process, and when do you think the producer should step out of giving the certain inputs in the creative process?
Hi Aryan. I think a producer has equal creative say, if not more, but I think there has to be mindfulness to know how much to negotiate. Every problem need not be solved, but you have to choose your battles, pick your battles and fight the ones that are most important to you. But between a producer and a director, I think both have equal say. You just need to know when you have to trust your director more and when your director has to trust you more. But pick your battles and fight the ones which are the most important to you. Not every battle is worth fighting for.
I can speak up. Yeah. So how do you get film insurance done I'm a little curious about that. No. Yeah. Really.
There are insurance agencies that cater to film insurance. So you just have to send them the script, the budget, the details of your crew.
So it's like a specific insurance company, not like general insurance companies, or could you give us an example?
There are specific insurance companies, but most general insurance companies also are in media and entertainment.
I see.
And a good place to start if you need to find out apart from checking with the local insurance outfit that you might know of, you can check with them also, but also local line producers, people who are in the production business. If you ask them, they'll probably know which are the companies that are doing it.
I can send you a couple of numbers.
Yeah, so suppose there is rain, how do you ensure rain? I mean,
So if it's an untimely rain, if it's an act of God,
Now we start making contracts.
if it's untimely rains, then your insurance will cover it. If say Bombay may rains happen from June to September, now October. So June to October, no insurance company is going to pay for your rains. You have to be mindful about scheduling it accordingly. But say in April or May it starts raining, then most insurance companies cover it.
thank you.
Also, Dimpy had offered that she can give you a few numbers.
Of insurance companies.
Superb.
Yeah.
I thought I could Google it, but if you
Yeah,
can
I can just give you some numbers and you can
Well,
reach
yeah,
out.
thank you.
It's the Guwahati weather, she's feeling general.
Hello, ma'am. First of all, thank you so much for all of your points. What I want to ask, or like a thought that is running in my head right now, on top of everything that you've said, in our production is also a very decision-making thing. Like you're always making decisions on the set. As myself, I am in production. I'm trying to do that. So what is your process? Like, is it shared experience, or is that a gut feeling, or how do you know that you're making the right, decision? Especially, like ma'am pointed out that you were with bigger companies. Back then it's a bit easier. You have people guiding you, but now that it's your own, you have picked out people for your own company. So how do you take those decisions and you know that those decisions are right for the film?
May I know your name?
I'm Pragya.
Hi Pragya. Very, very, very good question. Decision making is the toughest part of, I think, being a producer, because as you rightly pointed out, every 2 minutes you're making a decision, and that decision can kind of drive the project in very different ways. So Chashma got selected at Mami, and we had to decide if we kind of premiere it over there or not, and that would be the first premiere of it. So I think that point, again, the decision was, if I say yes, this becomes my fate of the movie. If I say no, then I'm kind of, it is opportunity cost lost, but for what? And I think that kind of decides. But you rely a little on experience, you rely a little on people in the industry you kind of trust, so you pick up the phone on them, or you reach out to them very kindly and be like, okay, I'm in a dilemma and I need help. So I think don't be afraid to seek help, because producing is a very, very lonely process, and it's a very lonely journey. And I think the ecosystem that I am in with my friends as producers of different companies, I don't even shy away from picking up the phone on them, and they don't to me. So I think that ecosystem is also a cardinal rule, to have those people who have your back, who are not your company people, but maybe different. But I seek help and guidance a lot, and then it is your gut feeling. Yeah, like at the end of it, you have to trust your own instinct, and sabki sunne ka karne ka khud ki is a line that my father taught me when I was very young, and he tells me till date. Suno sabki karo khud ki. So I think take your guidance and rely on a little bit of what they are saying, but eventually I do what I feel is what I think is best for my film.
Actually, that's lovely. I also want to add that basically sometimes what happens is, amazing thing Dimpy said, that she actually picks up the phone and talks to people and tries to find out what is the best course of action, and then accumulates that and takes the best decision that she feels she should go with. So you will notice that if you started reaching out to people, and I'm talking about people that you know, who might be doing production, who might be think about it seriously, who can you go to? Sometimes people will not share with you. But many times you'll be surprised at the generosity that people have. They'll help you because you don't have to make the same mistake somebody else has made.
Most times people help. Like reach out to your cohort, people that you have worked with, people that you kind of interact with daily. Most times people will be willing to help because no one wants to have someone else repeat the same mistake that they have done.
Hello, ma'am. My name is Mustafiz Ahmed. I'm also an aspiring filmmaker. So when I say filmmaker, I mean as a director also and also as a producer. So because I'm a one-man army, I'm asking a question that is, how do you as a producer, like how do you select the filmmakers, like directors? So there are accomplished filmmakers, directors, and there are some rookies. So as a producer, you have to think that these are young filmmakers and they have certain dreams that how vast the set will be and all the expenses. So how tough it is for you to work with rookies, and what are the challenges to work with filmmakers that are young, and how do you help them in the industry?
It's an art to pick the filmmaker you want to work with, but again, you have to rely a little bit on gut instinct. You don't want to work with a bad person.
Yeah.
So what I look for in filmmakers, writers, be it established or newcomers, because we are working with both right now, is A, of course, what's on paper sells, like up paper pe kya likha hua hai, that. B, what kind of a person they are, and if I get along with them, which is also very subjective, because I think you have to get along at least with your key crew, you know, your director, producer, writer, जो थोड़े बहुत मेन लोग हैं जो स्टार्ट टू एंड तक रहने वाले हैं, you have to have a basic level of comfort with each other, which is built 2-3 times. आप मिलोगे ना किसी को तो आपको समझ में आ जाएगा that if you will be able to work with them or not.
Yeah, thank you.
And I want to add one thing, mean और toxic लोगों के साथ मत काम करो, कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. अभी मत सोचो कि कितने टैलेंटेड है, थोड़े कम टैलेंटेड लोगों के साथ काम करो, लोग अच्छे होने चाहिए और सब कुछ अच्छा होना चाहिए और तभी काम करो, because we have learned this after years and years and years कि there is no valor in that. कम सीख लो, कम बना लो, कम कर लो, कम पैसे ले लो, लेकिन अच्छे लोगों के साथ काम करो, because उसका जो tangibility होता है ना, mental health, general creation, the way you feel, there's no, the return on investment is not tangible in that, but the benefits are, like, I cannot tell you how amazing it is to work with the right kind of people. It is worth its weight in gold, you know.
Even if the topmost filmmaker comes and tells you he wants to work with you, but you do not get a sense of a good feeling from them, do not work with them, because that working relationship will be not worth anything that comes your way.
You'll be paying whatever if he pays you, or he pays you. They'll probably take money from you to work on their film, and then उसके बाद अगर थोड़े पैसे मिलेंगे वो therapy में निकल जाएंगे. मत करो काम.
Hello. I had a question about, so as a producer, when you are reading scripts, what are the things that sort of you're looking for, what sort of catches your eye, and how many scripts do you read? Why would you read that script, right? So how many of them do they come to your table, and what is the sort of thing, and do you go with your gut, or what are the things you don't like? So sort of things like that.
Super question. I think now we've kind of year in it, we have a process, because there's a team also who's sitting and reading, but we as a team read every script that kind of comes to us, and every Friday, so just before this we had a creative meeting, we discussed what we've read. We aim to read per person individually 2 to 3 scripts. I think I'm faltering a little bit on my timelines because I've not been able to. What I go by my gut, but there are a few filters that I see, because that's like a team. Right now, Gubara's ethos is the kind of subjects that we want to make, so we look for projects like that. But across the spectrum, say when I was working for other companies, it's going by the strategy that is presently there. So right now we are looking for emotionally driven, character driven stories. So to see if it connects with me on an emotional level, because for me that is very important, to make stories that connect with me. So as a process, it's the team reads it, and if then we read it, Then we meet the writer, we meet the director. If there is a director attached, we have a discussion. If creatively we are in sync, that is the writer also kind of, if we like the script and creatively, then we are in sync with whatever we are thinking of, because again, it can't be a one-way street. It has to be a process which is, not too many writers are open to feedback also, so like I think that also you kind of learn on the way. So you see how all of those things are, and then at the end of it, I think it's a more gut instinctive feel. As I said before, too many times you have to love the script. So I think I go by that if I love the script and if I think that the subject needs to be told or the story needs to be told, then let's make it happen.
If I want to shop around my scripts now, around various production houses, for first contact, what should I have ready? A log line, a pitch deck? What exactly is it that you would like to see first as a
So
producer?
I think a synopsis and a pitch deck would be the ideal starting point. It gives enough to someone who's reading, whoever the reader is, about the project. A logline is too little, but definitely helps to have a very strong logline, because that is the first thing one reads in an email. So if the logline catches the eye, then you will go read the synopsis or open the pitch deck. So helps to have a very strong logline and synopsis and pitch deck to send out. Again, there's no one rule that fits all.
Yeah.
Also, strategy-wise, should I send to several places at the same time or send to one and wait for a reply, or how do we go about with that part of it?
Tell you all of them first.
What's ethical and ideal?
Send it to, first of all, register it, be very...
Of course.
But send it to multiple places because because the people say send it to me.
No, I will send it to multiple people. I send my scripts also out to multiple people, क्योंकि by the time one reads, वो 2 हफ्ते लगाएगा, 3 हफ्ते लगाएगा, क्या पता, आप तो 1 साल खाली भेजते ही रहोगे.
Send it to everybody till somebody has put something down on paper, given you some amount of money.
Showed some intent at least, or there's some conversation. And
you don't owe them anything.
Absolutely. And even then, like, you can always be open and honest, saying, you know what, I've sent it to other people also, the material, but
yeah, that's true.
The process is so long drawn that you have to try every avenue that you have possible.
How much would a concept video help?
A lot.
A lot.
Also, another thing that really helps, in my limited experience is, because I want visibility, a clear visibility in terms of how you would like us to come in, is that as much information, pertinent information that you can give to the person you're sending it to, it helps. So for example, if you have part finance, if you wheeled it out to people who've shown interest that you are looking for collaborators with, anything that you might have on the table that could possibly help you is, and you put that in, you've actually given a producer tools for them to make a decision. So suppose you've got I recently got a pitch that had, that didn't have finance, but they had actor commitments and they had a very strong crew. So I knew that if money is something that is given to them, they've got it all set. So that gave me a lot of confidence in that crew, because I was like, oh my God, this is stellar names. And if X amount of finance can be organized, then it's a good to go, project.
There is no, please do all the work from before, like getting a crew attached, getting all of that will only help you make your project happen. There is no alternative to hard work.
Thanks, Dimpy. Thanks, Smriti.
Thank you so much, guys. This was lovely. You are the best. I think one thing I've learned, Dimpy, today, doing 3 sessions, that the Guwahati audience and the filmmaking community and the students, they ask the best questions. They're not, they're very cinema literate, very excited, very intelligent. So this is awesome. It will help us hone our program even more. And thank you so much for giving us time. I know it was tough for you to make time, but you did. And everyone's looking forward to watching Chashma, which is your first and not your last. So anyone who wants to pitch stuff to Dimpy, please take her contact details or whichever email ID that she would love your stuff to. And I believe you guys are VFX producers. So go for it, guys. Wonderful opportunity that BVFF has created for you. That so many good professionals are here that you can have access to. So thank you.